Everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. Going to show you some more cool new inventory tonight. Actually going to kind of catch both ends of the spectrum. Some of the earlier stuff and some of the stuff that I'm starting to look for now because I think it's going to be harder to find in the future. Start off with the 39 Ford truck. Obviously this is right in line with pretty much everything we do around here. This is an old farm truck. If you caught it on the video a few weeks ago, I did a quick walk around right after the farm auction. I bought 4 out there at that farm sale. So I did bring you a quick video at the sale from the pasture, exactly where these were sitting. Now we're going to give you a little better look at it now that I've got it back here in the yard. No grill left in this one, obviously. We've got the lower splash panels, but the grill itself is gone. One thing I really like about this truck, it has a super cool little accessory bumper guard on the front of it. This is just your basic clamp on. If we look back here, it just has these basic brackets that go right around the flat bumper and clamp it on. So kind of a universal deal, could be used for a lot of stuff. Has a cool look to it, the way it comes up to a peak, and kind of has a neat design to it for that era. License plate still on this from 1947. I don't know if that's the last time it was tagged or not, but that's the last license plate on the front of this thing. We still see the cool hood ornament on it, but something fell on this hood at some point in its life. Still has the original headlight pods. We can even see the little Ford stamping right there on top of the headlight pod even. Like I said, this is an old farm truck. These were used and abused. This was prior to trucks being, cherished and revered and lovingly restored, or at least turned into cool patina drivers. So back then, they did what they had to do on a lot of these trucks to keep them going. This is a perfect example. This needed to be reinforced. They literally just laid a piece of strap across this. It goes fender to fender and tack welded it on there. Took the side panels off the hood, put the strap on, tacked it on there to support it. A lot of these fenders cracked back in the day, just like this. They just ran a bead down them, welded them back together because these trucks had to work. They didn't have to be pretty. They didn't care. They needed to do their job. They had to have them. That's what they were there for. This was a bigger truck. It was a 1.5 ton chassis cab, so this probably had a grain bed or something on it. When they were working it and they were hauling wheat, that's what they had to do. They fixed it and they went on about their merry way, making sure they got the job done. Has an old mirror arm on it still even. See if this door will open. It's stuck. We take a peek inside of it. We've got some of the gauges and dash stuff still left in it. And on the back of this truck, not really much here. This was a bigger truck. It is just a chassis cab, so whatever bed was on this truck is no longer here and it's gone. So we'll take a look at the other side of the truck. Then we're going to catch the other end of the spectrum of what I'm doing here. But we look over here, we see the other side of our strap sticking through where that was reinforced. It cracked out around the cab, so they literally welded a little bracket between the fender and the cab to hold this thing together. One good thing about it, the doors look pretty good on this truck. The running boards look pretty good. The fenders are banged up and have been welded on, but they're not all rotted out. So even though this is just kind of a rougher old farm truck, still a lot of pieces here. Definitely see the stitch work on this fender, what they had to do to that over the years to make it do its job and to hold it together and make it happen. But hey, that's what they did back in the day. That's what you had to do. Now, the other side of the spectrum, where am I going with what I do here? What do I look for in the hobby? What trends do I look for? Well, we're in 2021 right now. So you look back 30 years and we're into the early 90s, as crazy as that sounds. So what's going to be the next thing out there for old cars? Who knows? Who knows what people are going to like? But I always got to be kind of thinking about that. And this next car came in here recently, and I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put it out back, keep it around, because you never know when somebody's going to need anything. It's a 1993 Cadillac. Now, it's kind of crazy to think about, oh, it's a 93 Cadillac. Who would care? It's been wrecked. I think it hit a deer or something in the front. It's kind of banged up. But where are you going to find parts for these if nobody saves any of them? We still see that all the time today, just looking at these old trucks. Look how many of these old trucks over the years were thrown away because they were used, abused, wore out, and crushed and shredded. What's going to happen in the car industry? Who knows? But I think this Cadillac's pretty cool. I remember these cars. These were the smaller front-wheel drive ones. This was kind of a fancy one. It had kind of this fancy top on it. I don't know what the relevance was to it. I don't know why they did it. I don't know what kind of a trim package it was. It also had the gold trim on it, the gold crest and wreath on this one. Now, is this ever going to be collectible? I don't know. But I do know what happens to it if it's flat. It's good for nothing. So, we'll take a peek inside of it. It's all still there. This car actually was running and driving, not very well, but it was running and driving when I got it. It was overheating and kind of coughing and sputtering, but so it had some issues, but there's still a lot of pieces here. And if we don't save some of them, there won't be any of them. And another interesting thing about this car, it actually has an ASC sticker on it. So this car was modified by ASC. I don't know if that was the top or if it was a trim package. Like I said, I don't know a lot about them. Just trying to think ahead. Is anybody ever going to want anything off this car? Who knows? But just looking around here on the back, it's got all the trim. It's got these big taillight pods. It's got the taillights in it. It's got the bumper. It's got a lot of this stuff on it that somebody might need one of these days. And like I said, when they're flat, I know exactly how much is good on them. Nothing. We'll walk around to the other side of this Cadillac. And over here, it looks pretty good. Obviously, the accident damage was on the left front corner. This side looks good. It's got the factory wheels on it. It's got the factory trim on it. So, something a little different. It's the other end of the spectrum. So, am I right? Am I wrong? Who knows? I don't know. But, like I said, if you crush them, they're gone forever. This car's almost 30 years old. There's probably still some nice ones out there, I would guess. Probably some original cars that people have kept around that they're going to need pieces for. So I'm starting to think about that. And is there ever going to be a demand for it? I don't know. If there is, if there never is, you can always crush it later and sell the scrap. But for the time being, I think I'm going to keep it around. Try to keep my eyes peeled for some of this stuff, because you never know. Because they, believe it or not, are starting to get old. And that's what I'm trying to think about in my industry and what I do to try to make this, keep this thing going forward and think about what's going to be next. We talk about this a lot, especially on Sunday Night Live chat. So be sure to jump on with us at 7 o'clock on Sunday nights if you haven't been with us. That about where this hobby is going, about the kids that are getting involved, about how to get kids involved. A lot of people say kids aren't involved in this hobby, they don't like it, and you're wrong. There's a lot of kids that love cars. They like different things than what a lot of us typically consider a classic car, because to this year's high school senior that just graduated in 2021, that was born in 2003, a 93 Cadillac is an old car. It's hard to think about that. I know it's different to consider it, but that is an old car to these kids. So that's something we all need to be aware of. We all need to be cognizant of, and we need to welcome them, even though it's a little bit different spectrum than what we consider a classic car. So let's always keep that in mind as these kids show up with something different than what we normally like or normally think of as being an old car. Let's welcome them. Let's bring them in. And that's why this 93 Cadillac is sitting here, and I'm going to get it. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to put it back in its section with cars of this era, because you never know. We don't know where this hobby's going to head. We never know what's going to be the next hot thing. But I do know when they're flat, they're not good for anything. So, as always, thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you swinging by. If you're on Facebook, please share the video with your friends. Invite them to come over, like the page, hang out with us. If you're on YouTube, you like old cars and trucks, we've got about 1,500 of them here. Check out my channel. Please subscribe if you like this stuff. Check out the videos, old cars, old trucks, memorabilia, signs, gas pumps. That's what I love. That's what we do here at Nobody Else's Auto, and we have a lot of fun doing it. So that's why we do this channel. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned. More cool videos coming up. We'll see you on the next one.